guys, for this one here, we got to go to Cleveland. Let's get it. Let's go. Now, we all know the offense for the Cleveland Browns 2025 season was bad. Oh, I mean real bad. A bunch of these wide receivers contributed to a lot of balls being picked off, and they just could not haul in balls that was right in their damn hands. Well, Andrew Berry made it his point to focus on the offense.
Andrew Berry isn't wasting time. The Cleveland Browns general manager has a reputation for making ruthless decisions when players don't perform. And right now, two wide receivers are finding that out the hard way. Jerry Jeudy, who signed a 3-year $52.5 million contract extension last March, is reportedly being shopped to other teams. And he's not alone. The Browns are actively exploring trades that could completely reshape their receiving corps before the 2026 season even starts.
On opening day for the 2026 season, you can damn near guarantee it at this point. Now, just like I stated, news is starting to come out of Cleveland, Ohio, that the Browns is shopping around and making bold, desperate decisions to get rid of Jerry Jeudy and another wide receiver. Now, instead of the Browns are one bold trade away from fixing their passing game, man. Now, this is Jacksonville wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. We're going to talk about him a little later. Instead of the Cleveland Browns.
Here's the reality. Cleveland is facing. The Browns' offense in 2024 was historically bad. They ranked 30th in passing yards per game and 28th in points scored. Wide receivers were dropping catchable balls, running imprecise routes, and contributing to Deshaun Watson's league-worst interception rate. Jerry Jeudy caught just 58 passes for 768 yards with 4 touchdowns despite being the number 1 option. Those aren't WR1 numbers, those are barely WR2 numbers. And for $17 million guaranteed annually, the front office expected significantly more production. The coaching search is dominating headlines right now, with Jimmy Haslam reportedly in Los Angeles meeting with candidates. But personnel moves are happening simultaneously. Berry has made it clear that roster construction won't wait for a new head coach to be hired. The talent evaluation is ongoing and decisions are being made about who fits the future vision for this offense.
There has been many players coming out of the pipeline that the Browns have been connected to for this year's NFL draft. It's stated, however, general manager Andrew Berry has a long history of trading from struggling, disgruntled wide receivers. I repeat, Andrew Berry have a history of getting your ass up out of here, bruh, on that wide receiver part of the ball, dog. And I'm telling you right now, Jerry Jeudy is guaranteed $17 million, bruh. I don't know definitively.
This is Andrew Berry's pattern. When he took over as general manager in 2020, he inherited Odell Beckham Jr., who was underperforming and creating locker room tension. Berry waited for the right moment, then released him mid-season in November. He didn't hesitate with Jarvis Landry either, releasing him in March 2022, despite Landry being a team captain and fan favorite. Berry's philosophy is straightforward. If you're not producing relative to your contract, you're gone. Loyalty doesn't override performance metrics. Jerry Jeudy's situation fits this exact profile. He came from Denver with promise, showed flashes of talent, but ultimately couldn't separate consistently or make contested catches when the offense needed him most. The Browns gave him a chance to prove he could be the alpha receiver. He did. Now they're moving on.
Just justify sending Jacksonville a first-round pick, sending them their first-round pick back, and a much-needed wideout for their quarterback of the future. Trading for Brian Thomas Jr. would be the Browns' smartest move in years. Brian Thomas Jr. took the league by storm as a rookie. He was a candidate for the Offensive Rookie of the Year, and there was a point when there was a case to be made for him being on the same trajectory as fellow LSU star Malik Nabus. Then disaster struck. The Jaguars hired Sean Welding as the passing game coordinator, and Thomas became yet.
But here's where it gets interesting. The Browns aren't just looking to dump Jeudy's contract. They're actively pursuing an upgrade. and the target is Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. ESPN insider Brian Windhorst reported that Cleveland has maintained a strong relationship with Jacksonville's front office after trading for Amari Cooper from them previously. That relationship could facilitate another deal, this time for Thomas. Brian Thomas Jr. was one of the best rookie wide receivers in the NFL last season. The LSU product hauled in 87 catches on 133 targets for 1,282 yards and 10 touchdowns. He averaged 14.7 yards per reception and consistently created explosive plays. What makes him especially valuable is his yards after catch ability. 562 of his receiving yards came after the catch, meaning he's not just running vertical routes and hoping for perfect throws. He's making plays in space, breaking tackles, and turning short completions into chunk gains.
Hurting talented wide receivers. Now, it goes on to say Thomas has already proven what he can do. He's a big playmaker threat who can pile up yards after the catch in a heartbeat. As a rookie, he hauled in 87 catches on 133 targets for 1,282 yards and 10 touchdowns, averaging 14.7 yards per catch and 75 yards per game. Notably, 562 of his receiving yards came after the catch. The dude is a monster, bro, and he damn sure will look.
The Jaguars hired Press Taylor as their passing game coordinator midway through the 2024 season, and Thomas's production immediately declined. Taylor has a documented history of mismanaging talented receivers. During his time with the Philadelphia Eagles, he was criticized for simplistic route concepts and poor play sequencing that limited receiver effectiveness. Thomas went from averaging over 80 yards per game in the first half of the season to barely 50 in the second half. It wasn't a talent issue, it was a scheme issue. Jacksonville is in full rebuild mode. They fired head coach Doug Peterson. They're likely moving on from quarterback Trevor Lawrence's massive contract at some point, and they're accumulating draft capital. Trading Thomas would hurt, but if Cleveland offers their first-round pick at number 6 overall, plus potentially a future selection, Jacksonville's front office would have to seriously consider it. That's premium draft capital for a team that needs to rebuild multiple position groups.
Have it, man. This is coming from DPD.com, Dog Pound Daily, Cleveland Media. It's pretty much saying, do not be surprised if the Browns get to moving and shaking with these trades, man. We just got to wait and see. I know the head coaching saga is going to be the talk of the hour, but we still have to be mindful to track who's coming and who's going. And this is just going to be an exciting offseason as the Browns look to rebuild their offense.
Now let's talk about what this means for Deshaun Watson. Whether you believe he can return to his Houston form or not, the reality is Cleveland is committed to him as their starting quarterback for 20. His contract guarantees make it financially impossible to move on. So the question becomes, what does Watson need to succeed? He needs receivers who can separate quickly, create yards after catch, and make contested catches in critical situations. Jerry Jeudy doesn't excel in any of those areas. Brian Thomas Jr. excels in all of them. Thomas runs crisp routes with sudden breaks that create separation. He has the size at 6'3" and 209 pounds to win jump balls. And his ability to make defenders miss after the catch takes pressure off the quarterback to be perfectly accurate on every throw. That's exactly what Watson needs. He needs margin for error built into his weapon.
Comment section. Let me know y'all thoughts about this one. Keep them bells on. I will be back with more content. Until next time, man, check the headers off. I'm out of here, bro.
Here's what makes this move both risky and potentially brilliant. Trading a first-round pick for a wide receiver is a massive investment. The Browns hold the 6th overall selection in the 2026 draft, which means they could theoretically draft a top offensive tackle prospect like Kelvin Banks Jr. from Texas or Will Campbell from LSU. The offensive line needs help. Left tackle Jedrick Wills Jr. is a free agent and likely won't return. Right tackle Jack Conklin is aging and injury-prone. Using that premium pick on line protection makes logical sense. But here's the counter-argument. The 2026 wide receiver draft class is widely considered weak. There's no clear number 1 receiver prospect. The top-rated receivers are Travis Hunter from Colorado, who also plays cornerback and may not be a pure wide receiver at the next level, and Tetairoa McMillan from from Arizona, who has great size but inconsistent hands. Neither projects as a true alpha receiver on day one. Meanwhile, Brian Thomas Jr. already proved he can produce at an elite level in the NFL. He's a known commodity. You're not drafting potential, you're acquiring proven production. Cleveland could address offensive line in the second round or through free agency. Quality tackles like Tyron Smith, Donovan Smith, and potentially Mike McGlinchey will be available, but elite young wide receivers almost never hit the trade market. When they do, you have to be aggressive. The financial aspect works too. Thomas is still on his rookie contract through 2027, with a fifth-year option for that's 4 years of team control at below-market rates. Jerry Jeudy costs $17 million annually. Trading Jeudy and acquiring Thomas actually creates cap flexibility while upgrading the position. That's rare in the NFL. Usually you have to sacrifice cap space to improve talent. This move does both simultaneously. There's also the chemistry factor to consider. Deshaun Watson needs time to build rapport with receivers. If the Browns wait until the draft and select a rookie receiver, that player won't be ready to contribute at a high level immediately. Rookies need time to adjust to NFL speed, learn complex route trees and develop timing with their quarterback. Brian Thomas Jr. already made that adjustment. He'd walk into Cleveland's facility ready to be the #1 option from day one of training camp. That continuity matters, especially for a quarterback who's struggled with consistency. Andrew Berry's track record suggests he values proven production over draft projections. When the opportunity presents itself, he traded for Amari Cooper when Cooper was available. He traded for Elijah Moore when the Jets made him available. He traded for Deshaun Watson when Watson demanded out of Houston. Berry isn't afraid to part with draft capital when he identifies a player who fits his system and timeline. The relationship between Cleveland and Jacksonville makes this deal more feasible than most blockbuster trades. Both front offices trust each other. Both have made mutually beneficial deals before. Jacksonville knows Cleveland will offer fair value, and Cleveland knows Jacksonville will negotiate in good faith. That existing trust eliminates a lot of the posturing and gamesmanship that typically slows down trade discussion. So the question becomes, is Brian Thomas Jr. worth the 6th overall pick? If you believe Deshaun Watson can still be a franchise quarterback with the right supporting cast, then yes. If you believe the Browns are 1 or 2 offensive weapons away from contending in the AFC North, then yes. If you believe elite young receivers are more valuable than mid-tier offensive line prospects, then yes. But if you think Cleveland needs to rebuild the entire offense from the ground up, starting with protection, then maybe this isn't the right move. What's clear is that Andrew Berry is not sitting idle. He's not waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect plan. He's identifying problems, finding solutions, and executing moves that he believes improve the roster. Jerry Jeudy didn't work out. Rather than hoping he figures it out in year 2, Berry is cutting his losses and pursuing an upgrade. That's the mentality that separates good general managers from great ones. Great GMs admit mistakes quickly and pivot aggressively toward better options. The Browns' offense desperately needs playmakers. David Njoku is solid but inconsistent. Amari Cooper is gone, traded to Buffalo. Elijah Moore never developed into a reliable option. Cedric Tillman showed flashes but isn't a true #1. The cupboard is bare at wide receiver. Adding Brian Thomas Jr. doesn't just fill a hole, it gives Cleveland a legitimate alpha receiver who can command double teams, win one-on-one matchups, and create explosive plays that change games. That's what this offense has been missing. Keep your eyes on this situation as we move through the offseason. The NFL Combine happens in late February, free agency opens in mid-March, and the draft is in late April. Cleveland has roughly 2 months to decide whether they're making a bold move for Thomas or building through the draft. Based on Andrew Berry's history and the current state of the roster, don't be surprised if we see a blockbuster trade announcement before free agency even begins. Berry doesn't wait for opportunities, he creates them. And right now Brian Thomas Jr. represents the exact type of opportunity that could transform Cleveland's offense from historically bad to legitimately competitive. The only question is whether Jacksonville is willing to part with him, and whether Cleveland is willing to pay the price. My guess, both answers are yes, and this deal gets done before the draft. Let me know in the comments if you think the Browns should pull the trigger on this trade, or if they're better off building through the draft. Hit that subscribe button for more Browns coverage as this story develops.